Philadelphia as one of the most efficient edge rushers over the past 2 seasons. He's extremely explosive, technical, and his counter moves have counter moves. We'll get to the film in a minute, and trust me, it's really awesome stuff. But first, let's put some numbers behind it. No matter what grading service you look at, Huff's metrics stand among the elite. Next Gen Stats has him with the highest pressure rate in each of the last 2 seasons in the NFL among edge rushers. PFF shows the same thing, while also ranking behind only Myles Garrett and pass rush win rate the past 2 seasons combined. But it's not all about quantity. Quality matters too, because not every sack and pressure is the same. If you don't know who Brandon Thorn is, he's one of the most respected offensive line analysts in the media landscape, and since 2020, he has gone through and charted the top 50 or so pass rushers every year in regards to sacks and pressures. He watches all of their sacks and pressures and assigns a grade of low quality, high quality, or rare high quality to every play. A play like this, where the pass rusher gets a sack or pressure due to being unblocked, is given a grade of low quality. If a pass rusher wins based on their skill or athletic traits, they get a grade of high quality. If they beat a good or elite offensive lineman, they're given a grade of a rare high quality. In 2023, Bryce Huff was 5th in fewest snaps per high quality pressure and 8th in fewest snaps per high quality sack. Look at the company he's surrounded with. He's not just racking up easy, unblocked pressures. He's winning with skill. He had more high quality pressures than Hassan Reddick on over 200 less snaps. What's more, he's also beating elite pass blockers as he had 3 rare high quality pressures. He's not just cleaning up against scrubs, he's beating good players. Just for comparison, Reddick has not recorded a rare high quality pressure or sack in the past 2 seasons, although part of that is due to the fact that he hasn't faced many high-end pass blockers. To illustrate how rare it is, even Myles Garrett and Dexter Lawrence only had 2 rare high quality pressures last season. Now on to the film to see just how good this guy is. The first thing you notice with Huff is his burst off the line. He has an elite get-off that sets up the rest of his pass rush. That is illustrated by the fact that Huff had the fastest get-off in the NFL in 2022 and was 6th in 2023. Being able to get off the snap quickly is one of the most important traits for a pass rusher. His get-off puts fear into offensive tackles, and you'll come across a few reps where tackles immediately turn and run out of their stance to not get beat outside. Again, these are 2 high-end tackles in Teron Armstead and Garrett Bowles, who had the 6th highest pass blocking grade in 2023. If a tackle is laid out of their stance or takes a false step, Huff is getting around the edge. Blockers will often have to give space by taking deep vertical sets and open their hips so that they don't get beat around the edge. In turn, this opens their chest, and when that happens, Huff converts from speed to power and will collapse the pocket with his bull rush. Again, this is Rashawn Slater, one of the best and strongest offensive linemen in the NFL. This isn't something to take lightly. Huff's pass rush is more than just an elite get-off. He's incredibly skilled and has an excellent rush plan. He loves using jump-through techniques where he will hop into a cross chop or 2-hand swipe to knock the tackle's hands away and clear his hips. He sets this up with just a straight speed rush upfield or by using Euro steps and stutter steps to get the offensive lineman to stop their feet and soften the corner. Either way, he's extremely efficient with his footwork, and he times up his hands with his feet very well. His go-to move is a jump cross chop that he finishes with a club and rip to turn the corner and close on the quarterback. His hands are extremely fast as his club quickly follows the chop that then transitions into a rip move. Regardless of his setup, he loves using a rip move and always finishes with a high hand. This manipulates the shoulder joint of the offensive lineman as they try to clamp down, and he pries through their shoulder to clear himself through. Now let's get back to his go-to jump chop move. He shows a high level of awareness to be able to quickly string together secondary pass rush moves if his initial move doesn't work. This play is a masterclass of his counters that he employs. He's trying to set up his jump chop, but his feet and hands don't get timed up very well, and the offensive lineman is able to stun him with a strong punch. But Huff quickly realizes his initial move isn't going to work. Immediately, as he lands on his foot following the jump through, he's already transitioning to his long arm bull rush. He gets excellent hand placement under the offensive tackle's armpit, which knocks him back on his heels. But it gets better. One of the most common counters to a long arm is for the offensive tackle to use a trap technique where they chop down on the long arm, causing the pass rusher to lose their only point of contact and fall off balance. You can see the lineman chopping down on that arm here. But the counter to this counter is for the pass rusher rusher to roll into a two-hand bull rush so that they don't lose their balance when that arm is knocked away. Huff does just that, and he's able to shove the offensive tackle into the quarterback and force him to scramble out of the pocket. This is a sequence that takes a high level of skill to pull off so quickly. Huff effortlessly flows from one move to the next. Average pass rushers don't just luck into this kind of play. This is skill built up over years of hard work. This stuff will continue to carry over, even with Huff presumably getting more snaps. Whenever he uses one of his jump through moves, whether it's a jump chop or jump swipe, he's ready to counter with his long arm bull rush in case his initial move doesn't work. He is so much fun to watch. Let's look at a different counter. Here he uses a bull rush and gets a good initial pop, but with very short arms at just 31 3/4 inches, tackles with length can negate his rush at times. But this is no problem for Huff here, as he quickly uses his own trap technique to knock the arm away while simultaneously using his inside hand to rip through and force the quarterback off his spot. He just transitions through his rush moves so quickly. Bryce has more tools in his arsenal as well. His dip and rip and ghost techniques are very efficient. He's listed on the Jets website at 6'3", but he was measured at 6'1" at the Shrine Bowl his senior year. While he's shorter, that helps him dip under blockers and make himself a smaller target. He has incredible mobility to be able to carry a high rate of speed even when dropping his weight and coiling his body to take away his chest and shoulder from the blocker. Huff's mobility, combined with great lower body and core strength, allows him to bend at the top of his rush with ease. He's one of the best in the league at cornering and flattening to the quarterback. Once he clears the offensive tackle, he has elite burst to close on the passer. He also has tremendous lateral agility that allows him to counter inside in the scenarios where the offensive tackle oversets, and that lateral agility also shows up on stunts and on plays where he's asked to rush over guards. Now, any edge player in a Fangio defense is going to be asked to drop into coverage. While the Jets didn't ask their defensive linemen to do it much, Huff was their primary coverage dropper. They even trusted him to be the spy player when facing mobile quarterbacks. He's not as fluid as Hassan Reddick, but he has enough athleticism to play in space when asked to drop. One of the concerns with Bryce is whether his production will carry over when playing more snaps, since he was a rotational piece in New York. First of all, the Jets had an incredibly deep rotation on their defensive line. Him not playing more is partly due to that depth. He has elite traits and skills as a pass rusher that is going to translate with more snaps. Is he going to continue being the NFL leader in pressure rate? I can't say that for sure, but he's not going to become a bad pass rusher because he plays 10 to 15 more snaps a game. The biggest knock on his game is as a run defender. There's no denying it. He didn't earn his payday due to his work in the run game. He definitely has made plays against the run, and he has a lot of traits necessary to make more impact plays, but he needs to be more consistent. He's not as polished with his technique as a run defender. Pad level and hand usage has been an issue at times for him. There were several plays, especially early in his career, where he wouldn't have his base set on contact, or his hands would be late or not inside, and as a result, he wouldn't have good pop on his punch, or he would get knocked off balance. This made it easier for blockers to get their hands on and control him. And while he overcomes his lack of length in the pass game, and the run game is where it really shows up, as it's harder for him to create separation and shed. I will say, he has improved his technique over time. There were a lot more flashes of good reps on tape the past year. When he does play with a good base and leverage with square shoulders and better hand placement, he's able to control tight ends and hold his own against tackles. While he's probably never going to become a run defender that dominates bigger guys, to be fair, that was the same with Reddick. Reddick is better in the run game, but he's not someone that was consistently outmuscling offensive tackles, and he struggled some against combo blocks and double teams. He just needed to be good enough to hold his ground when taking on blocks at the point of attack, because like with Huff, rushing the passer is where he provides most of his value. His big plays in the run game were mainly due to his quickness that allowed him to penetrate and create negatives for the offense. Huff has the skill set to do the same, he just needs to get better and more consistent at it, and I think he will. It seems like Huff has spent the majority of his time honing his craft as a pass rusher, and I can't really fault him for that, since he knows that is what gets edge defenders paid. Take a look at Huff's weaknesses in his draft profile coming out of college. He needed to improve his hands and his rush plan. He was slow to counter, and length and strong punches would overwhelm him. Now, those are strengths of his game. He clearly has a great work ethic to build himself up from an undrafted player to one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Now he needs to apply that to his run defense. He's been vocal about wanting to take on a bigger role, so I would be willing to bet that he's putting more effort into that part of his game this offseason. But only time will tell if that's the case. What I do know is this: Bryce Huff is an incredibly athletic and skilled pass rusher that is going to cause a lot of havoc. He essentially wrecked the game against the Eagles. And he's not just beating scrubs. He has shown the ability to take on the best of the best pass blockers and come out on top. Don't be shocked when he becomes the next great Philadelphia pass rush phenom.